I never thought my own brother would call me a thief in front of our father's casket. But there I was, 55 years old, standing in the funeral home, while Marcus pointed his finger at me and told everyone I'd stolen what was rightfully his. The worst part? For a moment, even I wondered if he was right. My name is Harris, and I'm the younger brother by 3 years. Growing up in Pennsylvania, Marcus and I were tight. We built forts in the backyard, shared a room until we were teenagers, fought over the TV remote like all brothers do. Dad worked construction his whole life, came home every night with sawdust in his hair and concrete dust on his boots. Mom kept the house running, kept us fed, kept the peace when Marcus and I got too rowdy. We weren't rich, not even close. But we had enough. Dad passed away 2 months ago. Heart attack, quick and brutal. He was 78. Mom had died 6 years before that, cancer. So it was just Marcus and me left to handle everything. The funeral arrangements, the house, the paperwork, all of it. And the inheritance. Dad left behind the house, his truck, some savings, and a life insurance policy. Nothing extravagant. Maybe $200,000 total when you added it all up. Split down the middle, that's $100,000 each. Enough to make a difference in our lives, but not enough to retire on. At least, that's what it should have been. The problems started at the lawyer's office, 3 days after the funeral. Marcus showed up in a suit, which was weird because my brother hasn't worn a suit since his own wedding 20 years ago. He had this expression on his face I couldn't quite read. Tight jaw, eyes that wouldn't quite meet mine. The lawyer, Mr. Pemberton, was this older gentleman with white hair and reading glasses that kept sliding down his nose. He went through the will line by line. The house would be sold. Proceeds split between us. The truck, same thing. The savings account split. The life insurance policy was supposed to be split, Mr. Pemberton said, looking up from his papers. But it appears the full amount has already been paid out to Harris. My stomach dropped. What? I said. Marcus turned to look at me, and that expression made sense now. Pure anger. You already collected it? His voice was quiet, dangerous. No, I didn't. I don't know what he's talking about. Mr. Pemberton shuffled some papers. The insurance company shows the check was issued and cashed 4 weeks ago. $150,000 made out to Harris Dalton. 4 weeks ago. Dad had still been alive 4 weeks ago. That's impossible, I said. I never got any check. Marcus stood up so fast, his chair scraped against the floor. You're lying. I'm not lying. I don't know anything about this. The account was set up with you as the sole beneficiary, Mr. Pemberton said, looking uncomfortable now. If someone cashed that check, it would have required your signature, your identification. My hands were shaking. Someone forged it. They had to have forged it. Marcus laughed, but there was no humor in it. Right. Someone just happened to forge your name, your ID, everything. Come on, Harris. Just admit it. You got to Dad somehow, got him to change the policy, and you cashed it before he died. Why would I do that? Because you're broke, Marcus shouted. You've been broke for years. Ever since Janet left you, ever since you lost your job, you've been scrambling. And here comes this insurance money, and you couldn't wait. You had to get your hands on it early. Every word felt like a punch. Yes, my ex-wife had cleaned me out in the divorce. Yes, I'd been laid off from the manufacturing plant where I'd worked for 23 years. Yes, I'd been living in a one-bedroom apartment and driving a car with 200,000 miles on it. But I wasn't a thief. The next week was hell. Marcus hired his own lawyer. He was filing a lawsuit against me for fraud, for elder abuse, for everything he could think of. He called our aunts, our cousins, everyone in the family, and told them what I'd done. My phone blew up with messages. Some people defending me, most people demanding answers. I went to the insurance company myself, showed them my ID, told them I never cashed any check. They pulled up the records. There was my signature on the check, my driver's license number, everything. The bank had surveillance footage of someone cashing it at a branch 40 miles away. "Can I see the footage?" I asked. The manager pulled it up on her computer, turned the screen toward me. The person in the video was wearing a baseball cap pulled low, sunglasses, a jacket with the collar turned up. You couldn't see the face clearly, but the height was about right. The build was about right. It could have been me. "That's not me," I said. "Mr. Dalton, I understand this is difficult, but that is not me." But I could see it in her eyes. She didn't believe me. Nobody believed me. I started having panic attacks at night, lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, wondering if I was losing my mind. Had I done this somehow? Had I sleepwalked through some kind of breakdown, cashed this check, hidden the money somewhere, and blocked it all out? No, that was crazy. But the evidence said otherwise. 2 weeks later, Marcus stopped returning my calls entirely. I drove to his house one evening, found him in the driveway working on his boat. He loved that boat, spent every weekend in the summer on the lake with his kids. "We need to talk," I said. "Nothing to talk about." He didn't even look up, just kept scrubbing at the hull. "Marcus, I'm your brother. My brother died the day he stole from me." That broke something in me. I could feel tears burning in my eyes, and I hadn't cried since Mom's funeral. "I didn't steal anything. I swear to you. I swear on Mom's grave. I don't know what happened to that money." He finally looked at me then. "You know what hurts the most? It's not even the money. It's that you won't just admit it. If you came to me, if you said, 'Marcus, I was desperate, I made a mistake, maybe we could work through it.' But you're standing here lying to my face." "I'm not lying. Get off my property, Harris." I stood there for another moment, trying to find the words that would make him understand, make him believe me. But there were no words. I walked back to my car, and I heard him call after me. "Dad knew, you know. At the end, he knew what you were." I drove home and sat in my apartment, and realized I'd lost everything. My wife, my job, my savings, and now my brother. The only family I had left in the world, and he thought I was a thief. I stopped sleeping more than a few hours a night. I'd wake up at 3 in the morning and go through everything in my mind, trying to figure out what happened. Who could have done this? Who had access to my information? I thought about Dad in those last few months. He'd been getting forgetful, repeating stories, sometimes calling me by Marcus's name. But he'd still been sharp enough. Still been himself. Had someone taken advantage of him? A caregiver, maybe. He'd had a woman coming in 3 times a week to help with groceries, cleaning, that kind of thing. But Dad had hired her through an agency. They'd done background checks. I thought about the check, the signature. Someone had practiced my signature well enough to fool the bank. Someone had known my driver's license number. That meant someone close, someone who'd had access to my personal information. The thought that kept coming back, the one I didn't want to face. What if it really was Marcus? What if he'd framed me somehow? Set this whole thing up so he could get the full insurance payout? But that was crazy. Marcus was angry, sure, but he wasn't a criminal. We'd been brothers our whole lives. He wouldn't do that to me. Would he? I had a choice to make. I could walk away. Let Marcus have whatever he wanted from Dad's estate. Let him believe I was a thief. Move on with my life. Start over somewhere else. Maybe leave Pennsylvania entirely. Nobody would blame me for running. Or I could fight. I could hire my own lawyer, file a police report, turn this into a full investigation. Drag our family drama into court, air everything publicly. Maybe clear my name, maybe not. But definitely destroy whatever was left of my relationship with Marcus forever, or... There was a third option. Find out the truth myself. I went back to Dad's house. Marcus still had the keys, but I had a spare from years ago. when I used to check on the place while Dad was on vacation. The house hadn't sold yet, still full of Dad's things. Boxes everywhere, from where Marcus and I had started packing up, then stopped when everything fell apart. I walked through the rooms, looking at Dad's life packed into cardboard. His clothes, his books, his tools. I didn't even know what I was looking for. A clue, I guess. Something that would make sense of all this. I ended up in the garage, where Dad's workbench still stood covered in sawdust. His tools hung on the pegboard, organized the way he'd kept them for 40 years. Every screwdriver in its place, every hammer, every wrench. And there was his toolbox, the big red one he'd had since before Marcus and I were born. He'd taken it to every job site, kept it in pristine condition. I picked it up, felt the weight of it, started going through the drawers, just touching things, remembering Dad's hands using these same tools to fix our bikes, build our treehouse, repair the fence after storms. In the bottom drawer, under a layer of sandpaper, I found an envelope. My hands shook as I opened it. Inside was a letter in Dad's handwriting, dated 2 months before he died, and a stack of papers. "Harris," the letter said. "If you're reading this, I'm gone, and I'm guessing Marcus found out about the insurance. I need you to know the truth. I changed the policy 6 months ago, made you the only beneficiary. I didn't tell Marcus because I knew he'd argue, but I had my reasons. The papers in this envelope explain everything. I'm sorry for the mess I'm leaving you. I love you both. Dad." My vision blurred with tears. I pulled out the papers. They were bank statements. Marcus's bank statements. Over the past 3 years, Dad had been loaning Marcus money. Lots of money. 20,000 here, 15,000 there, 10,000 the next month. Never paid back. The notes in the margins were in Dad's handwriting. Boat payment, property taxes, business investment. It added up to over $90,000. There was more. A copy of a document Marcus had signed, promising to pay Dad back from his share of the estate. But Dad had known. He'd known Marcus couldn't pay it back, that there wouldn't be enough in the estate to cover it. So Dad had changed the insurance policy. Given me the full amount because Marcus had already taken his share, plus more over the years. Then I found the last paper in the stack, and my blood ran cold. It was a police report, filed 3 weeks before Dad died. Dad reporting that his checkbook had been stolen, that someone had forged his signature on 2 checks, $15,000 made out to cash, and a note in Dad's handwriting. I think it was Marcus. God forgive me. I sat down hard on the concrete floor, papers scattered around me. The insurance check, the one in my name. Someone had forged it, cashed it, and I'd been too busy defending myself to ask the obvious question. Where did the money go? I pulled out my phone, hands shaking so hard I could barely dial. Called the insurance company again, asked to speak to the investigator handling the fraud case. "I need to know something," I said. "The account where that money was deposited. Can you tell me what bank?" There was typing on the other end. "First National, routing number, that's enough. Thank you." First National was Marcus's bank. The bank he'd used for 20 years, where he had his business accounts, his personal accounts, everything. I called Mr. Pemberton. "I need you to subpoena Marcus's bank records, all of them." It took 3 weeks. 3 weeks of lawyers and court orders, and Marcus screaming at me over the phone, calling me every name in the book. 3 weeks of our family taking sides, people I'd known my entire life deciding whether they believed me or not. But the records came through. The insurance money had been deposited into an account in Marcus's name. Not his main account, a secondary one he'd opened 2 months before Dad died. The same account where Dad's stolen checks had been deposited. My brother had forged my signature, had stolen Dad's checks, had taken everything and then blamed me for it. The police got involved. Marcus hired a criminal defense attorney. The whole thing became this ugly public mess that got written up in the local paper. I found out later, through his lawyer in a plea negotiation, why he'd done it. Marcus's business was failing, had been failing for years. He'd remortgaged his house, maxed out his credit cards, borrowed from Dad repeatedly. The boat, the nice cars, the private school for his kids, it was all a facade. He was drowning in debt, about to lose everything. When Dad changed the insurance policy, Marcus found out somehow. Maybe Dad told him in a moment of confusion. Maybe Marcus saw the paperwork. Either way, he panicked. He knew I was broke, knew I'd be the perfect scapegoat. So he stole Dad's checkbook to practice my signature. Set up the fake account, cashed the insurance check using my identity, and then played the victim, knowing everyone would believe him over me. It almost worked. Marcus pled guilty to fraud, forgery, and theft. He got 18 months in a minimum security facility. His wife filed for divorce. His kids won't speak to him. The family splintered. Some people still blame me somehow, say I should have just let it go, that I destroyed Marcus's life over money. But here's what I learned through all of this. Family isn't just blood. It's trust. It's honesty. It's standing up for what's right even when everyone thinks you're wrong. I got the insurance money eventually, after all the legal fees. Paid off my debts, bought a small house outside Pittsburgh. Started working again, doing carpentry like Dad taught me. Simple work, honest work. Sometimes I drive past Marcus's old house, see the for sale sign in the yard. I think about calling him, writing to him in prison, but I don't know what I'd say. I forgive you? I don't, not really, I understand. I don't, not at all. I miss my brother. That's the truth. I miss the brother I thought I had. But that person might never have existed. Maybe Marcus was always capable of this, and I just never wanted to see it. Dad's toolbox sits in my garage now. I use his tools when I work. Feel his presence in every hammer swing, every measurement. I found another letter in there last month, tucked behind the drawer liner. Just one line. Harris, you were always the strong one. I knew you could handle the truth. Love, Dad. Maybe he was right. Maybe I am strong enough, but I wish I didn't have to be. I learned that you can lose everything, your money, your reputation, your family, and still wake up the next morning. Oh no, still put one foot in front of the other. Still build something new from the ashes of what you lost. My brother accused me of being a thief, but when I opened Dad's old toolbox, I found something more important than money or inheritance or family approval. I found proof that I knew who I was, even when everyone else doubted it. And sometimes, that's the only inheritance that really matters.